Someone alive right now will become the first human to live for 1,000 years, and scientists say we're less than 15 years away from making aging a curable disease. This isn't science fiction. Billion-dollar labs have already reversed aging in mice, extended lifespan by 40% in trials, and identified the exact biological switches that control how we age. By the end of this video, I'll reveal the 3 breakthroughs happening before 2030 and why the first person to live forever might already be middle-aged. Look around you. Take a good long look. Someone walking among us today, perhaps your neighbor, your colleague, or even the person you see in the mirror, could be the first human to celebrate their 1,000th birthday. This isn't a line from a science fiction movie. It isn't a far-fetched fantasy. This is a possibility grounded in the relentless march of scientific discovery. The universe has rules, and for millennia, one of those rules seemed absolute. Biological organisms, including humans, must age and die. But we are on the cusp of understanding that aging itself might not be a fundamental law of physics. Instead, it might just be a complex but solvable biological problem. It's a program, and we're finally learning how to rewrite the code. For most of human history, the quest for eternal life was the domain of myth and magic. We told stories of fountains of youth and philosopher's stones. But today, the conversation has moved from the realm of alchemy to the sterile, brightly lit world of the laboratory. Scientists are no longer asking if we can slow or stop aging. They are asking how and when. The evidence is mounting with each passing year, suggesting that the biological decay we accept as inevitable is, in fact, a treatable condition. We've learned to combat diseases that once wiped out entire populations. Now we're targeting the master disease that underlies them all, aging itself. This journey from fiction to fact is being paved by remarkable breakthroughs happening right now. Think of it like this. Your body is a complex biological machine that over time accumulates errors and damage. Scientists are now developing the tools to act as cosmic mechanics, repairing this machine at the most fundamental level. One of the most stunning demonstrations of this comes from experiments with mice. Researchers have successfully reversed the aging process in these animals, not just slowing it down, but literally turning back their biological clock. Old mice with failing organs, poor eyesight, thinning fur were rejuvenated, becoming physically and biologically younger. It's the biological equivalent of taking a rusty, sputtering old car and restoring it to showroom condition. These are not isolated incidents. Across thousands of experiments, scientists have achieved mind-boggling lifespan extensions in various organisms. In the humble nematode worm, they have managed to increase its lifespan by a factor of 10. Imagine that scaled up to a human. That's not living to 100, that's living to 800 or 900. These successes in the lab are crucial because they prove a fundamental concept. The rate of aging is not fixed. It is a flexible, malleable process that can be manipulated. We are moving from a passive observation of aging to an active intervention. We are no longer just passengers on a one-way trip to decay. We are learning how to grab the controls. The secret lies in identifying the aging switches within our own bodies. Our DNA contains all the instructions for building and running us, but there are master controls that determine which genes are turned on or off. These are part of what we call the epigenome. As we get older, these switches get jumbled. Genes that should be off get turned on and vice versa, leading to the chaos we call aging. Scientists have now identified key pathways and proteins that act as these master switches. By targeting them with specific molecules or genetic therapies, we can essentially reset the system. It's like rebooting a computer that has become slow and glitchy, restoring it to its original optimal performance. This is not a distant dream. The science is advancing at an exponential rate. As we sprint toward the end of this decade, the scientific community is converging on 3 revolutionary breakthroughs that could become the pillars of our ageless future. The first is epigenetic reprogramming. Think of your genome as a massive library of books containing all the information to make you. The epigenome is the librarian who decides which books are open and which are closed. As we age, the librarian gets confused, opening the wrong books and closing the right ones. By 2030, we expect to have therapies that can essentially retrain this librarian, using techniques inspired by the work of Nobel laureate Shinya Yamanaka. These therapies will reset our cells to a younger state, wiping away the epigenetic noise and restoring youthful function without losing cellular identity. The second key is the mastery of senolytics. As you live, some of your cells become damaged and enter a state of suspended animation. They don't die, but they don't function properly either. We call them zombie cells or senescent cells. They just hang around, releasing inflammatory signals that damage the healthy cells around them, accelerating the aging process throughout your body. It's like having a few rotten apples in a barrel that spoil all the others. Senolytics are drugs designed to seek and destroy these zombie cells. Use zombie cell diagram visual here. Early trials are already showing incredible promise in treating age-related diseases. By 2030, we anticipate having a powerful cocktail of senolytic drugs that can periodically cleanse the body of these toxic cells, preventing much of the damage we associate with getting old. The third, and perhaps most profound breakthrough, is the control of metabolic pathways. Your metabolism is the engine of your body, converting food into energy. Certain pathways like mTOR and AMPK act as central regulators of how your cells use energy and when they go into repair mode. For most of our lives, these pathways are stuck in growth mode, which is great when you're young but contributes to aging later on. Scientists have discovered that we can manipulate these pathways with specific drugs, some of which, like metformin and rapamycin, already exist, or through lifestyle changes like caloric restriction. By 2030, we'll have precision therapies that can fine-tune these metabolic engines, tricking the body into constantly activating its own powerful built-in repair and rejuvenation systems. These three approaches, epigenetic reprogramming, senolytics, and metabolic control, form a powerful trifecta against aging. Reprogramming resets the cellular software. Senolytics removes the accumulated hardware damage, and metabolic control optimizes the system's energy usage for longevity. Imagine, if you will, a world where a 90-year-old has the body of a 30-year-old. What does that society even look like? The very structure of our lives would honestly be rewritten. The whole concept of a career would transform. Instead of a single 40-year career followed by retirement, people might have, 5 or 6 different careers, each spanning decades. You could be a particle physicist for 50 years, then decide to become a concert pianist, and then maybe interpreter PSBTZ and they put tendanted is soaks and they noise. Education would become a lifelong pursuit, not just a prelude to adulthood. The idea of retirement itself would become obsolete, replaced by periods of reinvention, learning, and exploration. Family structures would undergo a seismic shift as well. What does family mean when 5 or even 10 generations are alive at the same time? You could have conversations with your great-great-great-great-grandparents, who might look the same age as you. The transfer of knowledge, wisdom, and wealth across generations would become a profoundly complex affair. Marriage, traditionally till death do us part, might evolve into renewable contracts or a series of long-term partnerships. The psychological weight of carrying centuries of memories, relationships, and losses would be, honestly, an immense challenge, forcing us to develop new frameworks for mental and emotional health. Our entire understanding of human connection would be put to the test. Of course, this ageless utopia is shadowed by monumental challenges. The most immediate is the question of access. Would these life-extending therapies be available to everyone, or would they create a new terrifying class divide, the mortals and the immortals? If only the wealthy can afford to live forever, it could entrench power and inequality on a scale never before seen in human history. This raises profound ethical questions that we absolutely must begin to debate now. Who decides who gets to live forever? How do we manage a global population that no longer declines? The pressure on Earth's resources, food, water, energy, and space would be astronomical, making sustainability and off-world colonization not just ambitions but absolute necessities. So who will be the first person to cheat death? When we imagine this individual, our minds often conjure an image of a newborn baby, the beneficiary of a future perfected science. This seems counterintuitive, but it's really just a matter of simple temporal arithmetic. Think of it as a moving target. The science of longevity is accelerating so rapidly that it's creating a concept known as longevity escape velocity. This is the point at which, for every year you live, science is able to extend your remaining life expectancy by more than a year. If you can just hold on long enough to reach this threshold, you could, in theory, live forever, continually benefiting from new breakthroughs that repair and rejuvenate your body faster than it can decay. The therapies expected by 2030 will be the first major push, adding decades to life. The therapies of 2050 will be even better, adding more decades. The first person to become functionally immortal will be the one who is old enough to have the resources and motivation to seek out the first wave of treatments, yet young enough for those treatments to be effective. A person born today will have to wait 40 years or 50 years to be in the prime position to benefit from these therapies as a mature adult. But someone who is 50 today only has to survive another 5 years to 10 years to be at the front of the line when the first truly effective anti-aging treatments become available. They will be the first generation to cross the bridge from a finite lifespan to an indefinite one. They will get the first generation epigenetic reprogramming, the first senolytic cocktails, and the first metabolic tune-ups. These treatments will buy them enough time, perhaps an extra 20 years or 30 years of healthy life, to be there for the second generation, third generation, and fourth generation of even more advanced therapies. They are surfing the crest of the wave. So, the first immortal isn't a hypothetical figure from the distant future. They are our contemporary. Now they are walking among us, living their lives completely unaware of the astonishing destiny that awaits them. They are not waiting for the future to be built. They are the ones who will live long enough to see it constructed piece by piece, therapy by therapy. The universe has been around for 13.8 billion years. Human life has, until now, been a fleeting spark in that cosmic ocean. But one of us, a person of our time, may be about to ignite a fire that will never go out. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe and like the channel for more curious and thought-provoking videos like this one. Ang chiu pin sa buipuan